This is India, I think. Well, it's the map of India most Indians have seen, the one provided by the Indian government, the one the law requires you to use in India. But it's not the only map of India. It all comes down to one thing: borders. Those squiggly lines that are supposed to tell us which area belongs to which country. In the modern world, countries have precise borders. Usually. India, as always, keeps things interesting. That's because India's borders, like all borders, are shaped by some of the least logical forces in the world: emotions and politics. So let's dive into a few ways in which India's neighbors may not agree with this map. And yeah, we'll talk about that border. You know, that one. The one you're definitely thinking about. But not yet. Let's first start off with... Wait. India and Sri Lanka don't share a land border. So where could the dispute be? Turns out, maritime borders can be just as contentious. You see, countries usually claim 22 kilometers of water around them as their territorial sea. And the shortest distance between India and Sri Lanka is just 24 kilometers. So the two countries had to get really precise about which part of the water belonged to whom. They signed this agreement in the 1970s, and as part of it, India handed off a disputed island. The tiny, uninhabited Kashmir officially became Sri Lankan, and everyone lived happily ever after. Except for the Indian fishermen. They ended up crossing this boundary, sometimes because there's more fish on the Sri Lankan side, but also often just by mistake. After all, there are no signs in the ocean. As a result, record numbers of Indian fishermen now languish in Sri Lankan jails. And Indian politicians, they are rethinking what happened with Kashmir. So yeah, water can be confusing. At least with land borders, there's no mistaking where one country ends and the next begins, right? India's border with Myanmar is over 1,600 kilometers long, and many stretches have dense forest or rugged mountains. This is what's often called a porous border. It's not that hard to cross, and both countries even had a free movement regime that explicitly allowed tribes that lived near the border areas to go to the other side whenever they wanted to. So the squiggly lines you'd see on a map didn't really matter on the ground. But now, given increasing concerns about cross-border crime, India is trying to build a border barrier along the entire stretch. But it's not the only border being fenced. Aside from their regular border, India and Bangladesh also have a special kind, an enclave. An enclave is not just the name of a fancy residential building in Mumbai. It's a piece of land that belongs to one country but is totally surrounded by a different country. So you could be an Indian citizen living on Indian soil, but the only way you get to the rest of India is by walking through Bangladesh, which would need a Bangladeshi visa, which you can only get at a Bangladeshi embassy, which is located in the rest of India. So yeah, life was complicated for the people living in an enclave. Until 2015, India and Bangladesh had many enclaves and even counter-enclaves. They even had the world's only counter-enclave, where a piece of India was surrounded by Bangladesh, which was surrounded by India, which was surrounded by Bangladesh. After decades of living with these enclaves, thankfully, India and Bangladesh sorted things out in 2015 by exchanging most of their enclaves. One enclave, however, still lives on, a little piece of Bangladesh inside of India. Its 17,000 residents use this road to access their home country. And yes, it's pretty heavily fenced. But some parts of India claimed by other countries can't be fenced. No, we're not going to talk about that border. We're going to talk about this one, Junagadh, which Pakistan claims and is part of India. The only problem? It's here in Gujarat. So why would Pakistan claim a piece of land that's at least 500 kilometers from its mainland? Time for a history lesson. At the time of independence, Junagadh was a princely state led by this man, a mostly Hindu population under a Muslim ruler. And he decided he wanted to annex with Pakistan. Chaos reigned, and ultimately, India annexed the region, followed by a referendum where apparently 99% of voters said they wanted to remain with India. It's been over 75 years, but Pakistan still claims Junagadh on their official maps. Oh, and what's this? Turns out, according to Pakistan's official map, they don't have an eastern border, and that's because... Okay, it's time. Let's talk about that border. Kashmir has what is easily and by far India's most complex border. One with so much bloodshed and false hope that it really needs its own video to explain all of it. So let's just do a super short version here. This is the region of Jammu and Kashmir. India claims all of it. So does Pakistan. This area is under Indian control, but this area is under Pakistani control. And that's been the case for a really long time, since the countries signed a ceasefire after their first war in 1949. And this area, it's controlled by China, both Aksai Chin and this region that Pakistan ceded to China. So some parts of India are administered by the Chinese, which brings us to the state of Arunachal Pradesh, home of the Dalai Lama, land of fantastical headgear, possessor of what is without doubt the most magnificent state emblem. Arunachal Pradesh is so cool that China claims all of it. They call it Zangnan, and they regularly publish Chinese names for localities that already have other names in India. Interestingly, Taiwan also claims Arunachal Pradesh. Why? Because they claim all of China, and China claims all of Arunachal Pradesh. And that's how, by the transitive property of geopolitics, tiny Taiwan claims a region that belongs to India and is 3 times its size. Bold move, Taiwan. Clearly, geopolitics can work in some weird ways. There's just no way a few squiggly lines on a piece of paper could express all of the history and struggles and ego behind how borders actually work. Some have tried to imagine what India's squiggly lines would look like if all of these other countries had their way.
Ugh.
And while there's only one official map of India, if you followed it blindly, you might end up in a few places that don't actually feel like India on the ground. International organizations like the UN draw maps of India that show dotted lines where there are disputed boundaries. These maps are all correct in different ways, but that also means they're all wrong as well. So yes, this is India, but for now, only to Indians. If you stayed this far, you might enjoy this video on how it's harder to pinpoint the center of India than you might think.